The views and opinions expressed on any program are those of the producers and/or the persons appearing on the program and do not necessarily reflect the views and opinions of FRCMedia, Bristol Community College, or the City of Fall River.
This week on FRCMedia News, Fall River weathers this week's snow event. The superintendent of the Fall River Public Schools takes the wraps off her FY 2025 budget, and we go in depth exploring Bristol County Government. All this and more coming up. It's Thursday, February 15th, 2024. This is FRCMedia News. I'm Keith Tebow. Fall River had to deal with a nuisance snowstorm this week. Tuesday's fast-moving event dropped about 4 inches of heavy, wet snow across the region, much less than the forecast of between 8 and 12 inches. Mayor Paul Coogan said snow removal crews handled the storm well.
I think overall the city did a good job on cleaning the streets. We had a number of pieces out. I was down at Lewiston Street a couple times during the day. No real big issues stood out other than, regretfully we tagged a number of cars for the parking ban. And again, if people saw that fire on Irving Street and what those cars that were illegally parked during the snow ban caused our firefighters to have to go through to fight that fire, they would move their car every time. But, it wasn't to be. I'm sorry, but again, we got through it pretty good. And again, we're still doing the after effects today. There's people that are complaining about a pile in their driveway, or there's people that didn't have the street cleared. So there's still work to do, but we'll get through it. Overall, very good.
Fall River Public School Superintendent Maria Ponts this week proposed a school budget for the new year that begins on July 1st, totaling $242.8 million. The spending plan is $16.3 million higher than this year's budget. $2.2 million of that increase will be paid out of the city's FY 2025 city budget. During a presentation before the school committee, Ms. Pond said the proposed budget builds upon the priorities set by the district to serve all students.
We want to invest in core instruction. We want to continue to invest in curriculum, instruction, and assessments. We have done a great job with building consistency across the district. We hear a lot about high quality instructional materials. DESE has made it their priority to make sure that districts invest in that, and we are ahead of the game. We have used a lot of our ESSA funding to build our infrastructure to make sure that we have what we need so that our people can be successful. Special education, we all know, is a priority. Ms. Obenshain has been working diligently with her team on program reorganization, expansion, creating more opportunities for inclusion. That continues to be a priority. Multilingual learners, our numbers have increased with multilingual learners. We are making sure that we have the right program improvements in place so that all of our students are able to be successful. Human resources, it's no secret that we need to invest on recruitment and retention of our staff. Every month I come up here and I tell you the people that we hire, the people that we've lost. We need to prioritize recruitment and retention. We need to work with our neighboring colleges. We need to we are in the process of bargaining with all of our units, and that needs to be a priority in making sure that we are competitive with all of our neighboring districts. Instructional technology and student information. We've invested a lot in technology. I think that a few years back, I remember the days of COVID when we were struggling trying to figure out how do we get Chromebooks in people's hands. That's not an issue now. We need to have a capital plan so that we are able to replace some of those aging devices, so that we have a plan in place so that we can grow and deepen that work. Facilities and operations, we've done a lot of good work, proactive work in our schools. We are using ESSER funds to improve air quality in many of our schools, investing in HVAC systems. We've done a lot of work with the monies that we've had to make sure that our buildings are kept up. Student support and strategic integration. We need to make sure we have, for the first time, we have a full complement of senior staff. And SEL work, curriculum resources for our students in social emotional learning, partnerships. Dr. B has worked tirelessly to bring in partners to our schools. Parent academies, Ms. Kudo, she's launched that and it's really taking off. So we need to create other opportunities to support our students as well as our families. And we need to continue to invest in our college and career pathways. And that's our early college is a model for the state. Just last week, they were presenting at Bridgewater State. Our numbers have increased. A lot of those kids are first-generation college students. We need to continue to do that, but we also need to continue to invest in our alternative programs. I think Mr. Aguiar just said, what are we doing catching these kids early so they're not falling apart and undercredited in 10th grade? So let's be creative and figure out how we're going to support our students.
The budget reflects an increase in enrollment of nearly 200 students and includes the hiring of 42 new positions as compared to FY 2024. The school committee will be meeting with department heads on the budget over the coming weeks, with adoption slated for April. We spend time on this program focusing on Fall River government issues and also delve into how state government impacts Fall River. But city residents are also served by a government that runs out of Bristol County. 3 commissioners oversee the operation that has limited responsibilities. We have an extended interview to share this week about Bristol County Government. Joining me for the discussion is former mayor and current county commissioner, John Mitchell. You've been a commissioner for how long?
11 years.
11 years.
It's been good. 12 years, yeah, actually.
And it's an elected position.
It's elected every 4 years.
So, and every 2 years, there's a commissioner up. So there's basically 3 commissioners, and every,
In Bristol, on the presidential election, which is this year, it's 2 of us. This year, it's me and Paul Kitchen. The off year, it's 1 commissioner.
1 commissioner.
So,
and how are commissioners, I mean, they're voted upon by the residents of Bristol County, but from what I understand, and correct me if I'm wrong, there appears to be like some regional representation, like New Bedford traditionally has one, Fall River has one. I mean, is that still the case?
it's usually done. The only restriction that I understand is you can't have 2 from 1 city or town. Okay. You can only have 1 from any city or town. Typically, and when I first got on, you had Maria Lopes from Taunton, myself, and then Paul Kitchen was in Fairhaven. When Maria stepped down, John Saunders from New Bedford won. So right now, that end of the county has, someone from Fairhaven and someone from New Bedford.
Right.
And I'm from the Fall River area. But again, it's like any office, if someone calls, you're going to respond to them. A lot of our work, I mean, the county seat is Taunton. Right. We meet almost always in Taunton as the commission every 2 weeks. Occasionally we'll move it, New Bedford. Sometimes we go to the Aggie school. And the other thing is the school, which is roughly half our budget, is also in Taunton, Dighton.
Dighton nearby.
So the northern end of the district does have a lot of representation in that sense, and we're very conscious of it.
Yeah, I do want to get into Bristol Aggie specifically and how the role it serves in the county, but in terms of the government operation, the 3 commissioners are, if I can relate it to maybe some of our towns, they're like the Board of Selectmen in some ways, right? They oversee the executive office, executive branch of county government.
It did. It took some getting used to after being mayor, that you couldn't just say, here's what I want. Not that you always very rarely got what you wanted, but you weren't making unilateral decisions. And again, the 3 of us, we get along well. There's not a lot of heavy controversial decisions with what we do, but there are some. There's spending decisions, there's hiring with the school. There's a lot of decision, contract negotiations, curriculum, things like that. So it is a question of, the 3 of you got to work in unison, which I think the 3 of us have done very successfully and improved a lot on county and the school functions over time.
So what are the functions of county government that, the commission oversees, and what are those departments? People may know some of them. So what are they?
Generally, what we oversee is the county buildings, which are essentially courthouses in New Bedford, Taunton, Attleboro, and in Fall River, the Registry of Deeds. There's no other courthouse. The old district has been sold off, and Recreation, Fall River Recreation is in there. And then the southern half of the registry building, the big granite building on Main Street, is the Children's Museum. We lease to them, and that's worked out tremendously. They've been there a little over 10 years, and it's worked out very well. And it's good for us because you don't want that large a portion of a building sitting unoccupied. And I think it's been a good public use. So we have all those buildings, and then we have the school, which is a big part. It's, as I said, roughly half our budget, a disproportionate number of our employees. And then we have other functions, some regional things we do, some support for other groups, community groups we give financially and otherwise. And right now we are administering $110 million in ARPA money, the federal money because of COVID. And that's gone very well. So we're managing that, which was a big step for us because our budget is $30 million, and we're managing something that's almost 4 times our budget.
So John, you talked about how the county commission oversees the buildings, the courthouses, but there's no oversight of the operation at all of those courthouses, correct? The district courts?
No, we don't like assign judges or anything like that. We do have a contract with the Mass Trial Court, which is a state agency, and it works very well. I mean, they pay a rent in the sense they pay operating costs, and it's percentage, like New Bedford District Court, New Bedford Superior is 100%. Some others are a little bit less a percent, depending on how much of the building they use. But it's worked very good, and recently, particularly with the state budget being a little flusher the last few years, they've done more capital work. And with ARPA money, we're looking to do a lot of capital work, which actually a lot of it's out to bid right now.
I want to get specifically to Bristol Aggie. Bristol County Agricultural School, the official title of the school. That's been in county hands for a long, long time. I guess talk a little bit. Yeah, talk a little about the history that people may not know about.
Yeah, it's one of, well, 2 public agriculture. There's actually 3 agricultural schools in the state. One is Smith. I think it's the same family that created Smith College. They have a school in Northampton. But it's us in Norfolk Aggie right now. There used to be Essex, but that became a Voc Tech, and there's a little bit of agriculture left. But we're one of the 2 schools, and it's a unique, I mean, I know I heard somewhere where, in one of the magazines I was reading, where the school got promoted, only Mass has agricultural high schools, which surprised me, but I think in the Midwest, well, I think it's part of probably a comprehensive school in that, so it's a little different. But it's going great. We just finished a $110 million expansion, and it consisted of 4 new buildings, renovating 3 others, and tearing down a couple. And if you get a chance, drive by. It's a beautiful, a lot of the work was done on the north end of the campus, which wasn't as developed, and what was there was, for instance, our animal science program, small animals, it was in a form of chicken coop, and it wasn't really, you know, not heated well and that. Now they've got a whole new big, beautiful building, and it was done with the school state building authority, who subsidizes, depending on how you calculate it, but somewhere around 55% when all is said and done.
Is it funded by state funds, and are there assessments to the cities and towns? How does that work?
Every community in Bristol pays a county tax. It varies by tax base, which is pretty much community size. You know, New Bedford, Fall River pay the most, Attleboro, Taunton, Dartmouth, and then so on down the line. And that's set, and it increases 2.5% per year. That's a good portion of our budget. With the school, we do get Chapter 70 money like every other school in the Commonwealth, and we also get transportation money. And then the registries, we do get some money from there. That's been a point of contention with the legislature. We get a percent of the registry stamps when you buy your house, and they tell you got to pay $2,000 on a stamp. We get some portion of that. It's small and it's decreased over the years. And then we get a portion of each recording fee. So
That goes
a
right
deed
to the
costs-
general county coffers, not necessarily to the
It goes to the registry in part. Each registry has their
Right.
own what they call deed excise account, and then we have a deed excise
Okay.
account. And in good years, it's great. Before the big bubble bust in 2008, the county actually returned money to the cities and towns. We had a couple good years, not quite that good, oddly enough, during the pandemic.
Yeah.
But now it's the receipts are well down, so it's a little tighter for us.
Right. Let me ask you again about specifics about the school. What types of courses are offered? What that may be of interest to some of our viewers who may not have known.
It's an incredible school. I mean, I knew it really from high school, and then when I was mayor, there's a county advisory board.
Right.
One elected official from each town. So I used to go up occasionally as mayor for the advisory board meeting. But, I knew it, and back then it was all male, and they still had dormitories. They didn't have a lot of boarders, but, from Attleboro out of the county, they had boarders. It's an unbelievable school. They have a variety of majors. They have animal science, large and small, floriculture, ABA, landscape, ag mechanic, and now we've added an environmental science. Well, we've had natural resources, but they're kind of hand in hand. And we now have a full veterinary facility. We have a surgery center in the veterinary facility, and we've just hired our own veterinarian for the first time. So those are the majors, and it's not like people familiar with Diamond and I think New Bedford Vogue. It's 2 weeks on, 2 weeks off.
Right.
Ours are incorporated daily.
Right within.
So every student does a little academic in the day. They'll go back and forth to their major maybe 2 or 3 times during the day.
The advisory board, which each city and town has a representative, what's their role?
Their role is to oversee. They usually only meet once a year, sometime twice, but they have to approve the budget.
Oh, okay.
And then they have to approve certain things within it. Union contracts, they technically have to approve them. So the advisory board is made up of it has to be an elected official from each town. So Fall River, and the other 3 cities, it's the mayor or designee. A lot of them will send a city councilor. Mayor Mitchell generally did that, but Mayor Coogan has attended quite a bit. And then the towns, it's 1 selectman. So they get together, it's a weighted vote. So a lot of times, well, before remote meetings, we had a lot of trouble getting a quorum, and you really had to get a couple of the cities. But with remote, it hasn't been that problem, but it's weighted based on the county tax. And so each community has a vote. And they generally oversee, we typically meet for the budget. With the school building, we met more often, maybe 2 or 3 times a year sometime, because we wanted to present to them what the assessment would be, what the building was going to be. We need approval for bonding and things like that. So we did meet a little bit more, but it's generally 1 meeting once a year. Try to do it before the end of the fiscal year on June 30th, but often it takes place in the summer.
The county invests not only in the school and the buildings, the courthouses and the like, but into some community endeavors. Explain some of those. What is any in Fall River?
We grant some money to the Child's Advocacy Center. That's been going on since before I got there. The Fire Chiefs Association, we help them out. We do offer some regional help with certain things. We'd like to do more of that, and we're hoping the biggest regional thing right now is the APA money.
Right.
The federal money from COVID. All the counties, I just mentioned, decided to hold on to the CARES money, the APA money, and administer it. So we had $110 million, and what each county did, we each hired the same accounting firm. So when you apply for any APA money from the county, and each community got money directly from APA, like
Correct.
Fall River got about 67 million,
Correct.
and then they got about another 30 million through the county.
Correct.
So what we did is we set up a series of portals where you have to go through your local community. So if you're a nonprofit in Taunton, you've got to go through the city of Taunton, be approved by them, then they submit it to the county. Then we have one accounting firm review it, another reviews that, the treasurer's office reviews it, and then at the end of it, it's the commission votes on it.
Yeah.
And it's gone very well. It really has worked well. We've got almost all the money's not out, but we've got applications for almost over 90%, I'd say now, by the latest numbers. We had 110 million, and I think right now it's somewhere around 102 that's been applied for. All won't qualify,
right,
and some will be sent back. But
right.
And it's worked well, some interesting projects.
In most states across the country, county government is huge, right? In the South, a lot of the communities fall under county government. There's county government seems to be an overseer sometimes in some municipalities. There's been a call for many years to abolish county government here in Massachusetts. You said not all counties have county governments any longer. Do you still see a usefulness here in Bristol County to continue to have county government the way it is now?
I do, for a number of reasons. One, what happened was in the late 90s there was real financial problems with counties, notably Middlesex, which is by far the biggest county
right.
in the Commonwealth, and the state had to step in to rescue them. The ones I mentioned, Plymouth, Norfolk, Oz, Barnstable, were still operating reasonably well. The fiscally was sound, so they were allowed to stay as counties. The importance, I think, especially for an area this far from Boston, is it is a local government. You know, we do employ local people. We do, I think, most importantly, administer the school on our own. You take it away, it's not going to be run locally. It'll be run, the governor on the board of the trustees, the school board of the agricultural school, there's 7 members, 3 commissioners, and 4 appointed by the governor. Obviously, there's a lot of pressure to keep it in Bristol. Will it stay that? Where will the employees come from? So it is another form of local government, and there's really been more of a push on regionalization with county government. But again, that tends to come up when things get tighter and towns have problems, because the cities, I think, will always function pretty much on their own. But right. A lot of the more technical, scientific, conservation commissions, water quality, right. I think in the future there will be some regionalization. But again, it's Massachusetts, the home of the town meeting, right. And no one's going to give that up.
We'll be back right after this.
Here are some job descriptions on the latest hot jobs list from the Mass Hire Fall River Career Center. Logistics Analyst, Republic Services, located at 1080 Airport Road, seeks a full-time logistics analyst responsible for the coordination and utilization of drivers, trucks, and containers to create capacity, maximize productivity, and efficient service to all customers. Job number 204-09106. Dental Assistant. Alpha Dental Center, located at 230 Rhode Island Avenue, is looking for a full-time dental assistant responsible for preparing patients in work area, assisting the dentist during procedures. Job number 204-09652. Assistant Manager, Friendly's Ice Cream, located at 135 Mariano Bishop Boulevard, is seeking a full-time assistant manager responsible for the day-to-day operations of the restaurant, including directing and supervising shift managers and team members. Job number 204-11696. Wound Care Registered Nurse, Catholic Memorial Home, located at 2446 Highland Avenue, is looking for a part-time wound care registered nurse. For more information, call 508-679-0011. Dunkin' Donuts, located at 1023 North Main Street, has an immediate need for the following full and part-time positions. Assistant Manager, job number 204-08038. Manager, job number 204-08232. For more information about these or other positions, visit Mass Hire JobQuest at jobquest.dcs.eol.mass.gov or call the Mass Hire Fall River Career Center at 508-730-5000.
Hello everyone, welcome to Hot Dogs and Cool Cats. Here I have Pumbaa. Pumbaa here is about a year old or so. He came to us as an owner surrender. He is kind of shy and skittish, and it takes him a moment to get to know you. But once he knows you, he loves just hanging out and doing things. He has no issues at all. He's just a sweet boy looking for a nice friendly home. As you can see, he is kind of skinny, so we would like to put a little bit of weight on him. Right now he is 51 pounds, but he should be more like 55 to 60, given how big he is. With children, we say over 12 for him, mostly because of how nervous he is and how big he is. But if you're interested in Pumbaa, feel free to come on down. We would like you to fill out an application before you come meet him. You can do that on our website at foreverpaws.com.
Today we have Alejandro. Alejandro's a 3-year-old, great tabby. He's a little nervous right now because this is his first time in this room. He's a very, very nice boy. We've had him for a couple weeks now. Very much likes his attention. Seems to get along with the other cats in here, though he just started making friends with some of the cats because we just got him neutered. He likes to lay around, he likes to be with people, he likes to act like he's the king. And as far as children is concerned, I would say for him, probably anything 5 or older. It would probably be ideal if he was in a home with people that had, you know, average everyday comings and goings. So if you'd like to come on down and meet Alejandro, you can come down to Forever Paws Animal Shelter at 300 Linwood Street in Fall River, Massachusetts. You can also view Alejandro and all the other cats on our website, foreverpaws.com.
That's all for this edition of FRC Media News. Please visit our website, frmedia.org, for all the latest news and local information. FRC Media News runs Thursdays at 6 p.m. and Fridays at 5:30 p.m. For all of us at FRC Media News, I'm Keith Tebow. Have a great weekend. We'll see you next Thursday.